Place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place. See, cause everybody wanna tell you bad things. What could go wrong, what fame brings, but success is a finicky thing. And if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. I don't wanna let myself down.
Scuffle Town girl getting it in. Welcome back, y'all. You're back in the Scuffle with another video with your girl, Callista J. Sit with me now. You're back in the Scuffle with another video with your little Scuffle Town girl. But listen, hey you guys, I have been gone for a minute. Yes, I know. But listen, you guys, this year has been one of those years that has been crazy, awesome, transforming. And if you hear anything come on, that is the air. Sorry, we cannot block out that sound because it is a little hot. But first off, if you have not seen this face before, please make sure you go and hit that subscribe below. Join the Scuffle Town family. Join your Scuffle Town beauty girl. Okay, listen. Come on, join the family. Hit that subscribe below. Hit the bell beside it. And you will be notified every time I come on. So, you guys, this video, first off, I have a doctor's appointment this morning that you will be taking a ride with me, and we will be having a conversation on my transforming year 2022. Okay, remember I told you about my speech impediment. We gotta overlook it sometime. But anyway, 2022 has been my transforming year. It has been my year that I am on a new level in my Christian walk, my Christian faith. And when I tell you, from before when I got saved till now, this is a whole new, and all I can say is a whole new level. Okay, all I can say is a whole new level. So we are going to be you know, I'm going to give somewhat of my testimony to where you guys, I know that that's a lot of lights. But anyway, I'm going to give my why is that like that? A lot of light. Let's see, hold on. Either way it goes, we got a lot of light. You see it's just shining, but I don't really care. So anyway, you guys ask me a lot about You know, Callista, how do you keep your faith with what you've been through? How do you continue to walk? How do you trust? How do you still lean on someone that they feel like, and I'm speaking as of them, that they're saying that I feel like it's not there when I pray. I feel like, but you have went through what you have went through, and you still, you still hold on. And when I tell you, we're getting ready to talk about how much of a transforming year this has been for me. Get ready for your jaws just to drop. Like, we're gonna have to pick them up off the floor, okay? But I do this, you guys. I do this in hope that I can lead you to your salvation, that I can show you what you need in life, who you need in life, and I'm just hoping that if I reach that one or two or ever how many it is, that when I reach you, that it reaches you and it touches you. But you guys, this year, when I tell you that the Holy Spirit came in and put me on a new level, you know that song, I'm on a new level. 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 It is such a difference. And when I tell you that there's a major difference in when you get saved and knowing that you're saved and He has changed your life, to it being like, oh, I gave my life to the Lord, but I still don't know, and I'm just still walking each day, like, y'all. And that's all I can say as far as it is a new level. When I tell you a new level, that's all I can say. It's a new level, okay? A new level. So, today, like I said, it's going to be a little noisy because we're going to do things in, I have to drive a vehicle that's a little loud. But you'll still be able to hear me. But we're going to ride to the doctor today because I have a doctor's appointment, and I'm going to give you a little bit of my testimony as of like now. Let's see. Okay. Starting off this year, you know, I have been saved before, and I've always had my faith. You know, I cannot say that I have not been through something and still have my faith and still knew who my Father, who my Master, who my healer was. But that is not to say that I did not have my moments of just being like, okay, Lord, I must not be as important to you as some, because I sit in church and I watch these that get just filled with the Holy Spirit, and they're falling out in the Holy Spirit, and I'm just, nothing is going on. And when I say to you, don't give up, don't give up, because things don't come right away. You understand? Things don't come right away. So, like I said, before we get into anything more, I want you to make sure you have hit that subscribe below, hit that notification bell beside it, join the family, because we are getting ready to do some things. I have some new skin products that as when we say, we swear by, and that I will be introducing in this video at the end, which is my skin routine that you guys asked me, and you asked me as far as it being affordable. Yes, it is very affordable. Most of these products you can get at Walmart, or you can get online for a little bit of nothing, but it is the perfect products, and I love them, and that is what keeps my skin glowing and doing what it is doing, as you see now. that you have been asking. But that will come at the end of this video, so don't rush it, because we're going to have some conversation, and we're going to hit this road, and we're going to do some talking today. And in between time, I will have to cut, because you know, some things I can't record. But that is not to say that you're not going to be able to come in with me. But you will be able to see me come into my doctor's office, but you will not be able to see a lot of, you know, certain things, because of my security and my bodyguard not being with me today, and he's very disgusted about that. But I'm sorry, babe. He had to work, so he was like, ugh. He's used to being there, being my bodyguard, because just out of security, you know what I mean? So first of all, like I said, please hit the link in the bottom, because that link will take you to my Amazon storefront. Yes, I do have my Amazon storefront open finally through Amazon. I am influencing for Amazon, and it is open now, and you can already purchase the products that I'm going to be showing you. As far as my skincare, you will be able to purchase in my storefront. But like I said, let's get ready to go, and I am going to, like I said, I'm going to reveal to you a lot of things that has completely changed your girl's life around this year, and some are just like still, thank you, air conditioner. It's a blessing, but it's noisy. But that doctors are still, listen, I'm not getting into it. We're going to get on the road, and I'm going to finish telling you, okay? Let's
go. Swear I won't forget this. Why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed.
Okay. Here we go. So I hope y'all can see me good. And like I said, I am in a vehicle just a little on the loud side. So let's do this. All right. Okay, so we're going to get started with this ride. And once we get started with this ride, we're gonna always warm up my vehicles. You guys, if you do not warm up your vehicles, you are rushing your motor to do things, you know, that you don't need to be rushing it to do. So hope you guys can see me good. Hope you can hear me good. I'm gonna speak a little bit louder, that way you can hear me good. But there's gonna be points that I'm gonna be logging off, because I need to be listening to my K-Love. You guys, if you are not listening to K-Love, that is your radio station. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Your radio station is K-Love. And I'm pretty sure wherever you live, that you do have a K-Love. Hold on, you guys. I'm about to get these little right. That you do have a K-Love, and that is just the name. A lot of areas have that station, so you know what I'm talking about. And I'm pretty sure, honestly, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. So if you're not used to it, please find it. You will hear them speaking about K-Love, and then you'll hear, but it's gospel music, y'all. Listen, I know some of our saints that don't believe in music changing. I completely understand it. And listen, you stay with what you feel comfortable. And honestly, there is another station that plays nothing but the older music. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. But it plays the older music that you guys are used to. And you know, if you don't want to change, and like I said, I do not blame you. Your music is your music. But us younger generations, we have music that has changed, and it is not outrageous, especially on K-Love. They do not play some of what we call the outrageous Christian music. And to me, it's not. If it's outrageous like some of it is not Christian music. You know what I mean? And I'm saying it just like that because that is just the straight God's honest truth. First off, I am going to go get me some coffee because I ran out of coffee this morning. And if you know me, you know I don't run out of coffee. I don't run out of coffee. And these people are just pulling out just like they just don't see me coming, and they're just gonna, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna let them back up. But anyway, I am fixing to get some coffee, and I'll be right back with you. Y'all, I am so daggone excited. I don't know which way to go. Okay, so I told y'all I wanted to stop and get some coffee, right? I stopped and got my coffee, and this is, I don't actually like the energy and double shot because of my health and my, you know, things. But I got this one, and it was 2 for $6, right? So they're like $4 a piece. So I was like, oh heck yeah, I'm getting the other one for 2 for $6. So I got the white chocolate. I got the white chocolate one. So not only did she get up there and tell me, she says, oh, did you know that they are buy 2, get 1 free? So not only are they get 2 for $6. Let me wipe this off. They're not just 2 for $6. They are, you get 1 free when you get the 2. Yes, please. I'm just gonna try to keep them cool until I get a doctor. Y'all, I hope y'all didn't hear that alarm go off the whole time. But anyway, but yes, please, and thank you. So I'm gonna try. Well, not try. I've had it before. I'm going to do the white chocolate one, and you see white chocolate up here. But we're gonna go ahead and get on the road. That way, I can start my story on telling you guys. About my experience this year. And I actually will be, if you do not follow a church, hold on one second, y'all. If you do not follow a church, please go on YouTube and go under Mount Olive Pentecostal Holiness Church, which is Mount and then Olive PHC, okay? And watch them, because I will actually be giving my testimony soon. As far as I know, it will be this Sunday, but you guys will probably already be seeing this. Y'all probably already be seeing this one. So go there and you'll be able to watch it if I've already given my testimony. Oh, thank you. Yes, please and thank you. Let me go ahead and get on that hand. Hold on. To your love. And anyway, people are so courteous sometimes. It surprises me sometimes. They can be so nice and let me over, and then sometimes it can be so rude. But anyway, okay, so just to start off and tell you, I have always, you guys, and like I said, if you hear a little bit of blowing, that's my air conditioner, because it is a little warm still where we are at. It is still a little warm where we live. It's been getting cool, but then it's getting hot again. I don't know what the weather wants to do. I think it's just the weather is just a little bipolar. Okay, so I've had a lot of things go on in life. For one, let's just start off. I was a SIDS baby. And if you do not know what a SIDS baby is, it's a baby that will stop breathing pretty much on you. You know, it'll stop breathing. And if you don't catch it, or if you're not around, most babies will die from it. Thank God I have a mother that loves me the way she loves me, and she realized whenever I would stop breathing that she was not going to let me be in another room. She, not only that, she had such a, like any mother or mother bear should be, she had such a nervousness about it that she would have me sleep on her chest. And sorry you guys if it's a little shaky. It is what it is. These roads we have are just so beat up, and the government just don't want to fix nothing. So she would have a lot of times where she slept with me on her chest, because of me with the SIDS stopping, stop breathing. And it wasn't until later on, I told my mom, I said, Mom, the doctors did tell you that was SIDS because of how I would stop breathing. And back then, they didn't really, say a lot of things or tell you. They just say, we should stop breathing. We had to restart her back breathing. But my mom has told me a bunch of stories about getting me started back breathing, or how I think she said one time there was a nurse that she knew or something, or a friend nurse, and then she jumped in and rescued me. But that is so good. That white chocolate, y'all, is the bomb. But so, it wasn't till this past, little bit of time that I realized that God has been saving me all my life. And then, I had to realize, well, Lord, why are you saving me? Obviously, there is something He has for me to do. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So, we disobey God a lot in life. But when it comes to certain things, and you are disobedient, to me, it's more of a slap in the face to God. Or to our Lord, it's more of a slap in the face than other times when you're like disobeying God and you're like, oh, Lord, forgive me. But if He saved your life or brought you back from death or something like that, and He still kept you alive, and you're still ignoring it, y'all, to me, and y'all can have your own opinions, okay? And I feel like I'm sitting a little bit sideways. But you can have your own opinion. But to me, I feel like that is, even worse. Let me fix you guys. I'm going to pull over for a second and fix you guys. Because this is a little sideways. That's a little bit better. Okay. That is a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to get back on the road. Hold on one second. Okay, so, but to me, like I said, that is, that's a little bit more of a slap in the face to me, to the Lord. So, fast forwarding a little bit more, I was told that I couldn't have children, that I had a uterine disease, which is called endometriosis, that you cannot have kids, and if you do, you risk the chance of dying. So going through that, I'm shortening some of this up for you, but going through that, I called my parents that day when I left the doctor, crying. I told them they needed to come over because I didn't want to waste time, and they being excited, waiting on me to have children, and it wasn't going to happen. But like I said, I was raised, and that seed was planted in me by my parents, by my grandparents. And when I tell you those praying saints, you guys, those praying saints, oh my God, I want to be a praying saint. And I am. Thank you, Jesus. But I, like with my nephew, and, I don't get to see a lot of my nieces and nephew, but the ones that I have up under my wing, I try to plant that seed. And with my children, I messed up in life with my children, and they've seen me party a little bit and seen me do things, but I'm now straightening that out, and I am asking them to, to please, please forgive me for not always doing the right thing. And I did ask for them, for their forgiveness. I did ask for their forgiveness, because he tells you on some things you need to be asking that person to forgive you. Also, I haven't, been everything I needed to be as a wife, and things I messed up on, and things I did, and and it goes for a lot of people. But I even asked my husband, please forgive me, and do you forgive me? And he's like, yeah. And I even went a second time, and I was like, do you forgive me for anything I've ever done? And he was like, don't ask me again, I forgive you. So hey, all right. So at that moment when my parents left, and they were a little upset, and I was still crying, trying to get myself together, I said right then, I told my husband, I said, you know what, no, I want children, and if God provides me with kids, I am going to put my faith in Him. Like I said, those saints have planted that seed in me enough that I know how to have my faith and believe in God. But I did still have times, like I said, this year was different, I'm going to get to that. But I did have times where I said I have faith and I believe, but then I worried, or I had fear, let fear set in. And then that right there in the Bible says, if you let worry come in and fear, and you don't put your trust in God, you're telling Him that you don't believe in Him, that you don't believe He can change things, that you don't believe He can do what He can do. So I had to, start, even the age I am, I'm still learning. I'm still learning, because it is never too late to learn, and it's never too late to get on track. Okay? So, my kids are gonna laugh about that. Mama, what are you doing? But anyway, so whenever I said that, God blessed us with a child. Her name is Caitlin, and she is beautiful. She is the princess of our castle. She is the love of our lives. And not only did He bless me one time, but He blessed us a second time with Sean Matt. Love of our life, the prince of our castle. Thank you, Jesus. And listen, don't think I didn't have trouble during my birth. Yes, the devil still tried to take me out. My heart was giving way. They were trying to keep me alive. They realized my monitors was going off, that I was dying, and they shot me up with this stuff. And boy, when I tell you they shot me up with this stuff, it felt like I said, but I knew God was with me the whole time. Before that, I'm sorry, I skipped too quick. Before that, I'm just giving you some little jumps before I tell you about this year, okay? Before that, I was in a really serious accident. A very bad accident. Wasn't my fault, but the guy slammed me from the side. When he slammed me from the side with his big old truck, It busted some things in my spine. It messed up a lot of things. It crushed my tailbone. Yes, you heard me right. It crushed my tailbone. Needless to say, I stayed in surgery 11 or 11 and a half hours. Being put back together. Had to relearn how to take steps. Relearn how to walk. You guys, I'm saying all this to say that even I did not realize at the time that God was holding me all through life trying to say, Callista, wake up. And like I said, I was not a bad person to party and do drugs. I've never done drugs. Okay, we'll get to that. I've never done drugs, shot up, done dope, nothing like that. Never ever. I see my family go through a lot, so I never ever done, never ever done drugs. And he was still trying to say, wake up, wake up. I got something for you. And you're not letting me come in. You're not letting me, but I'm here taking you through each and everything, okay? Lord, forgive me for that, for not paying attention. So, we're going to ride for just a few. And I'm going to finish telling you some of the story in a few. But anyway, with that accent, you guys, just to tell you how he was with me the whole time. My monitors were going off on the ambulance, and I had a friend that was with me, but she was on the ambulance, and they snatched her off and asked, now how long is it going to be before her ambulance got there? And she was okay. They were like, take her off, because my monitors were going off, and I felt like I was getting like dizzy, but I didn't realize that I was dying. That was me fading out. And all I could hear was my uncle in the side door going, Callista, please stay with us, stay with us. And it was my stepmother, but she was also at the side there, but she left, and I know why she left, because she was going to find my mother. She was going to find my mother, but for some reason, God had already spoken to my mother, and my mother's on her way to work, and this is how God works. The Holy Spirit had already spoken to her and told her to turn around and go back home. She told me this after the fact of everything going on. She said, the Holy Spirit spoke to her, God spoke to her, told her to turn around and go back home. She knew something weren't right, but, she was going to obey, and she was going to turn around and go back home. But needless to say, I was having CPR fixing to be started on me. I didn't wake up till a while in the hospital, and they had to forcefully, they had to force wake me up, okay? And they have ways that they do that, and the way they woke me up was they took this knuckle and grinded it right here in the middle of my chest, and that's how they woke me up. So let's ride for a little bit, and I'm gonna finish telling you about how everything added up to this year, okay? Let's ride.
Mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, reopen, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I'm just lost to feel. I need time to heal. I can't steer the wheel, cause this drive it kills, and it gives me chills. And I on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong.
Few moments later.
You say the universe is doing things. I say God is out here doing things. You say astrology will give you keys. I say the Lord will give me all I need. Fruits of the Spirit, God will give me peace. Who am I to judge other human beings? When? We just tryna figure out life. We just tryna figure out life. We just tryna figure out this life. We just tryna figure out life.
Hey you guys, I hope I'm not sitting sideways, but as you can tell, it has been a few days, a week or so later. Sorry if there's any noise in the background. It is still warm. I have the air conditioner on. But I want to jump on here and finish out what we were talking about. But just before we get there, I'm still not finished with the studio, still working on that, so stay tuned. But furthermore, I have been in the hospital. Yes, in the hospital. From where you see me before, I was on the road. I had went to the doctor, was going to finish up when I come out. You guys, I was not feeling well. Ended up at the doctor, or ended up at the ER, and when I got to the emergency room, well, before then I was feeling warm. I was not feeling good. I felt like I just wanted to get sick. Turns out somehow the flu, and I wear my mask, y'all, the flu had hit me, and while I was at the hospital, being in the hospital, COVID came in and got me too. So this whole thing you guys hear about flu-rona is true, and it sucks. You understand? It sucks. So like I said, I woke up not feeling well. Before that I was gonna finish, like I said, on the road, but I just wasn't feeling myself. And by that next day, it was like, I was rough. And by the time I got there, they took me to a trauma room. And when I finish my story, it'll incorporate letting you know why they took me straight to the trauma room for. But I wanted to finish my story out about telling you guys, dealing with my testimony. Tested positive for flu, and it was really bad. My heart rate was jacking up, and even when I went to like nod off to fall asleep because I was so exhausted, my heart rate would just shoot up and the alarm would start going off. So the doctor said, no, you're staying here. We are putting you in a room. I was admitted, and I had to stay a whole week. I just wasn't doing good. Okay, but anyway, where I left you guys off at, let me think where I left you guys off at. Oh, I was telling you about the part of my journey where 2022 was my worst and my best year. So where I left you off at, I think we were talking about, good gracious, where was it? Oh, the wreck. I had been in the accident, and like I said before, you heard, it was so bad that I had to be reconstructed. But during this time, I did not realize that God had me protected this whole time. And this whole time, he had been trying to just get me to realize that he had something for me. He has something for me. Y'all, sometimes we don't pay attention. You know, and a lot of times it is to the point where it just don't hit us, or we're just not paying it no attention, or we just don't care to pay it no attention. Not saying that that was my case. But getting to this year. Before this year started, you guys, I was having severe migraines. Severe migraines. Every so often, they would come, and when it would hit me, it would be just so traumatic, y'all. I don't know if you've ever had a migraine, or if you've ever even had a headache. If you ever had a headache, just think of having that headache 4 more times stronger. That's a migraine. So when I would have my migraines, my body would be just so, as somebody, if you ever heard the word discombobulated, just so out of whack that it would cause me to throw up, which would cause it to be worse, y'all. Worse. Because if you think you're throwing up, that's putting more pressure on your head, you know? Y'all, the Lord was still trying to get my attention. So, let's see, May comes. Fast forward to May 2022. I am having another migraine. When I have my migraines, every time I've ever had my migraines, they've been so bad that I have to go to the ER or urgent care, and they have to hit me with some shots. So May comes, I'm having another one. Things are just not going that great. So in between time, I have to go use the restroom. I feel sick at the same time, on top of having to go to the restroom, you know, periods, you know, not my period, but, you know, just like dot, period. So I get to the bathroom. My head is hurting me so bad. all I can do is to hold on to things. Just hold on to things, to sit down. I sat down, and if you have ever in your life hit your elbow, most of us have hit our elbows, right? When you hit your elbow, you feel that like zinging, like that tingling, like ooh, ooh. As I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, I feel that feeling that whenever you hit your elbow, it's in my hips. When I say I felt it go from my hips up my spine, and I felt it traveling my spine, like it's the same feeling if you hit your elbow and you're scared. Like if somebody scares you and you're like, and you're trying to get your heart rate to calm down and all this. Well, my heart was going out of control as this zinging feeling was going up my spine. Y'all, when it hit the back of my head, when it went up my spine and finally got and hit my head, I automatically knew something was terribly wrong. I literally slumped over, caught myself. My eyes were going like this. They were going back and forth. I did not know what was going on. I could barely get up. I was getting up. I was trying to speak. Couldn't hardly speak. So I'm still holding my pants, and I can't get my pants up. I cannot seem to coordinate, do anything. It's so awful of a pain that I cannot explain it to you. So I'm still feeling this zinging feeling of like I'm steady hitting my elbow, but it's going up my back and hitting my head, and to the point I could feel it in my fingertips. I'm trying to make it down the hallway to tell my husband, call the ambulance. it's even worse. My migraine's even worse this time, to the point I feel this feeling. And he's like, you should, like, yes. And he's seen I couldn't even get my clothes together. I couldn't even hardly say anything. Like I said, my eyes were jumping. You guys, I went a whole week like this. Can you imagine if you've had a headache or a migraine? Can you imagine going a whole week and it being, if you've ever had a migraine, it being at least 3 or 4 times worse, like having 3 or 4 at one time, to the point I was going by ambulance every single night. Every single night for 8 days straight, I was going to the emergency room by ambulance. We're not going to talk on the doctors right now, because we're just going to say point blank, they neglected to pay attention to the signs, to anything, and was medicining me up to the point where medicine was masking this feeling, and I could still feel it trying to come, the hurt trying to come over that. I was throwing up. I couldn't get under control. The first night I went, and I was explaining, he was having me explain to him what I was feeling and what was going on, and he seen that I was like traumatized. He point blank told me, he said, you know what, you sound like you're having an aneurysm, a brain bleed. Y'all, when he said that, my first thought is, people don't survive aneurysms. You don't survive aneurysms. So he medicines me up, said, you know, the usual, you know, if you need us, come back. 8 days straight, you guys. 8 days straight, I came back to the ER by ambulance. We were calling the ambulance every single night to come and get me, to take me back to the hospital. So on that last day, skipping forward, on that last day, and this is where I tell you that your faith, keeping your faith, and knowing that God He has you, and that no matter what, He's there with you. I called my mom, and because my husband was at work, and I said, Mom, listen, you gotta take me back. She's like, oh my gosh, listen, she said, this is too much on you. They've got to do something. And I'm like, yes, it has gotten so much worse that they've got to do something. So I go back, and I'm sitting there, and I remember telling my mom, Mom, if it's the same doctor, I don't know what I'm going to do. Either they're going to have to do something, or God's going to have to take me home. When I said that, you know, we already knew things were serious, but they knew how serious it was. If I was saying that I would rather God took me home than dealt with this pain, you know, it was some god-awful pain. And when I mean god-awful, that means if God was to do something to you, and, you know, something was happening serious, you know. So I turn and I look, and when you look out the ER emergency room, there's a whole circle where the doctors sit, right in the middle of all the rooms. They sit in a little middle part where they can look out and see into each room if they needed to. All of a sudden, I see the doctor step. You know, it's the doctor because he's got the white coat on. Step there, and I start bawling. I start crying, and Mama's like, you know, and I'm already sitting there still throwing up. Like, for 8 days, I'm holding something up under me. For 8 days, y'all, I'm not exaggerating. I'm holding something to throw up into. And I hope you guys, this is not too much, because if it's too much, you might just want to log off. I see it's the same doctor, and I lose it. I start crying, can't stop crying. My mom looks at me, she says, baby, it's going to be okay. We're going to get something done. it's going to be okay. So when the doctor, and we're not listen, period, we know that the doctor was what do you call it, negligence. He was, you know, but we're not focusing on that right now. We're focusing on how God stayed with me. So he comes into the room, he crosses his arms and he says, "You're back?" Because he's seen me for 8 days straight, ever since the first night. So I looked at him and I said, "Listen, something is wrong, seriously wrong. I am not joking about it. I'm not playing. You need to do something." And I told him, I said, "You either need to do something or you need to put me in the hospital here." And I've never asked to be put in the hospital, but I told him, I said, "You either put me in the hospital to figure what's going on or you do something." So he was like, "You know what? I'm going to go get my colleague to take a look at something." When I tell you, it didn't feel like maybe 2 seconds, and I could see them out the room, and he was speaking to her, and she turns, and she had to have been looking at my scans and looking at, you know, the scans that they had done the first day, y'all. This was the scans from the first day, because they hadn't done any more. So she must have been looking at my scans, and I seen her jerk up the phone. So next thing I know, he comes in there and he's like, Miss, I just want to let you know that I had my colleague take a look at things, and you have had an aneurysm, brain bleed, and it has ruptured. Y'all, if you've ever been told something that you should have died from, and a doctor, like I said, we're not looking at that because we know that how he overlooked things, but it was so severe that I was like, okay, what's the next? It wasn't registering in my mind that I've had an aneurysm rupture this whole time and I'm still alive. How does that happen? How, y'all, okay, you guys, if you've ever looked up an aneurysm, if you've ever heard anybody talk about, how does that happen? How do you not only survive it, because most of the time they tell you by the time it happens to you, which happened in my bathroom, that most of the time the ambulance does not make it to you. When you have an aneurysm, most of the time, they say 75 to 80% or whatever it is, the ambulance does not make it to you. And if the ambulance makes it to you, most die on the way to the hospital. So how do I survive 8 days? But God. So he says, we are getting you transported to the trauma center right now. Right now. So I'm thinking, well, I'm still alive, so I'm going by ambulance. Y'all, it was so bad that they told me that first day I should have been airlifted to the trauma brain center. And that they don't know how in the world I survived. So, next thing I know is these beautiful ladies coming around the corner, and you can see nothing but their gold wings on their uniforms. Look like when you see them superheroes in an action movie and they're going in slow motion and they're coming for you. That's exactly what I seen. They had to fly me. They were scared to put me on the ambulance and take me, to the point they flew me. By then, my family's mad. They are so mad with the doctor, for one. But we're still like, how? But God, y'all, do y'all understand what I'm telling y'all? God is so amazing and so wonderful to us that I should have died in my bathroom. My husband should have been sitting around here waiting for me to come out of the bathroom, and then finally went and checked on me and found me dead. That hits me in such a different way, that I know that God was with me and was holding me, not only the first time when it ruptured, because that's what it was, that's what the feeling was that came up my spine, that feeling I told you when you hit your elbow, that's the feeling that comes through your nervous your nervous central, and it hits your brain, and the pain from it, and plus the rupture of the brain bleed is what kills you. That's how painful it was, y'all. So they're prepping me. I mean, they're prepping me, y'all, to the point they were scared to move me anymore, to get me on the helicopter to fly me out. When I get to the trauma center, you know, it still isn't registering to me that I'm getting ready to have brain surgery. I'm sorry, y'all. This just brings back thoughts of how good God was to me, and how I'm trying to get you guys to understand how good He is to us, to everyone. So I get there, and obviously they're flying me to the IC, and in my mind, it's still not registering, you know, I should have died. It still hasn't really caught on that you should have died in your bathroom. Do you realize that? So they transport me. I get there. They're waiting. They've got me in an emergency area, special emergency room area, where they can take me straight to ICU. And the nurses, and it's not registering, y'all, that the nurses are coming and looking at me, and they're saying certain things like, am I in the right room? Or, you just don't look like you've had an aneurysm rupture. It's not registering with me because, like I said, I had already been through so much trauma. I just wanted somebody to take that pain away and help me, just my body to get mellowed out, because it was so awful, y'all. It was so awful. So they get me to ICU, and you know, they're hooking me up, and then they're telling me, we're getting ready to take you into surgery. Then now it's registering. I'm getting ready to have brain surgery. I not only had one brain surgery, I had to have two. It was so bad. And the doctors are steady, like, and the nurses are steady, like, are you serious? Are you sure you went through an aneurysm? For one, I was supposed to, from the time it hit me, it should have killed me. But since I was one of the ones that made it to the hospital, I should have been unresponsive by then. That was the first night. God took me through 8 days. You understand me? 8 days. Are you hearing me? Unresponsive. I should have been put on life support right then. I should have been on life support right then. Then by the time I got to the ICU, I should have not even been experiencing knowing any of this was going on, because by the time I should have been on life support, I would have been out, and I would have been in ICU until they could have got me off of life support. During this time, I realized that I'm dying. I realize I'm dying. My family's coming in ICU, just kissing on me, telling me how much they love me. But my faith was so strong that I told God, I said, Lord, you have taken me through all of this. I know that you've got me. But if you've ever had the taste of death, you won't want it anymore. You won't want it anymore. You will not want it anymore. Okay? I realize it's, it's still, my head has been through so much trauma that it's still, everything's not registering it at one time. So when that one doctor comes in, he says, do you realize how lucky you are? And I'm like, I'm alive, I'm lucky, not, He says, no, do you, this might not be the exact words, but he's like, no, do you realize that for one, people never survive this aneurysm, but maybe 2 out of 2,000. And you went 8 days. Furthermore, you're sitting here talking to me when you should have tubes all in you, keeping you alive. Next, you should not be able to speak, walk, move. You should have this long of a, and he showed me, he said, all these disabilities you should have right now. All of them. From, like I said, not being able to talk, not being able to feed myself, not being able to move, being on life support, being in a wheelchair. There was so much more. You can look back on what an aneurysm causes. But you're sitting here talking to me. It started to register with me how good God had been to me. Because, y'all, my soul wasn't ready. And my sin is not no different than anybody else's. I wouldn't have made it in. When I died, when I'd have died in my bathroom, I wouldn't have made it in. Even today, right now, I would have been in hell. And listen, if you can't handle this, or you're saying, then this might not be for you to listen to. But my sin, my life was not ready. And if you're not ready, that's where you go. So if I would have died like I was supposed to have, that's where I would have been. And it dawned on me, oh my God, my God, you snatched me out of the pit of hell. You snatched me from the sting of death out of the pit of hell. God, thank you. Y'all just don't know how different that hits me. Because if you've ever had to experience death coming for you, and it had you, and you know that you're dying, and having to see your family come in one by one and they're rushing up there to see you because they don't know if you're going to make it, or if they don't, and they don't know if you're going to make it through brain surgery, not only one brain surgery, but 2. I realized, y'all, after a little while, it took me a little bit, but I realized God had taken care of me when He didn't have to. The story in the Bible that speaks of the 99, He left the 99 to come and find that one. Very special to me. Because He left that 99 to come find that one. That 99 that had died from aneurysms and stuff, He'd come to find that one. After a while, I kept, no matter if I've been to the hospital and stuff, I've kept my faith. I knew who my Father was. I knew who my healer was. I knew who my provider was. Even when I weren't doing right, I knew. And I respected that, and I always said my prayers. I always, I went to church, told God, I know I'm not doing everything the right way, but God, please forgive me for anything I've done. But I realized not too long after that, the more the doctors and nurses would come in, and they would be just mind blown at me, like me sitting here now. This is exactly how I was. When I should have been like not speaking. My eyes should have been messed up. My body should have been life support. They should have been just coming and checking on me, giving my medicines and walking out. But they were able to speak to me, and they were just like mind blown. I realized God let me understand that not only was this for me, because He has something for me, but it was for these nurses and doctors to see how good He is and what He can do in your life. And I would speak to some of these nurses and some of these doctors, and they would say, I just cannot understand. I just cannot believe this. And every time I made it a point to tell them, this is what my God done. God done this. Who done? I can't believe that you're not on life support. We've never had one even make it in here, let alone if they made it in, that they not be on life support. My God took care of me. And I realized it was not only for me, it was for me to testify and tell others what He can do in their lives and what He can do for them. Y'all, I cannot express to you how bad a trauma it has been this year. But God has taken me through it. And when I tell you I have a new hunger for my Lord, this is where He wanted to get me to. And He knew that it was going to take something traumatic like this to get me to understand and to get on track. Even those times when I felt like, God, why? Why you put me through so much pain? Why? I realized He wanted a new song in my heart. He wanted a new praise to come out of me because He had something for me to do and I wasn't listening. But not only for me, like I said, it was for others to be able to witness to them and say, yeah, I don't have any of those disabilities. No, I wasn't on life support. So let me tell you that too. When I just told you that the reason I weren't able to finish because I had been put in the hospital, well, here the other week whenever I was put in the hospital for the flu and the coronavirus, COVID, the doctor that came in to see me, he, just give you a little short story on what I mean by it's for others too. That this is, not just for me but for others. So when he came in to check me, he was like, I'm looking at your record, you're high risk, and now you know why I'm telling you that whenever I was in the ER that they put me into trauma. When I told you you'd know at the end here, the reason they took me straight to trauma part is because I'm high risk with having the aneurysm. So he was like, he looks at me and he says, well, you got a fever and blah blah blah, they're keeping you here because you're very sick at the moment. So how long were you intubated for? And intubated is just another word, is life support. How long was I on life support? And I said, sir, I wasn't on life support. And he stopped, looked at me like this and crossed his arms and stepped back. And he said, you wasn't on life support? And I said, no, sir. He said, are you serious? And I was like, yes, sir. And he was like, how is that possible? And right then I said it again. I said, I will never not let nobody say anything without telling them who done it for me. And I said, God done that for me. God took care of me. Now, fast forward, my nurse comes back in to do routine check on me. And she says, what did you say to that doctor? And I thought maybe he had took something the wrong way. And I was like, what? She was like, he came out and set his stuff down and looked at us and said, do you know her story? Do you know what she went through and she wasn't on life support? How does that happen? And I told her, I told him that God was the one that took me through it. God's the one that took care of me. And she said, I knew it. I said, why? I said, did he say something wrong? Because I was still like, did he take something the wrong way? She was like, no. She said, I'm glad you said that to him, because he's one of those that jokes and plays about God. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? My trauma wasn't just for me. It was for others to see the miracles and the supernatural things that God can do in our lives, and we would just give our lives to Him and not give it to Him playing around. Because to me, I felt like I had gave my life to Him, but I was still doing worldly things. And every once in a while, I'm still learning. I might realize, oh, or the Lord might put it in my head, you know, that was wrong, and I have to ask for forgiveness. But that's what He wants us to do. He wants us to be able to have that relationship and say, I messed up, Lord. Please forgive me, Father. But you guys, long story short, which I know it ain't been short, but that's how good God was to me. An aneurysm that ruptured that should have killed me right then and there. He kept me alive. He kept my body and my breathing and my functioning in His hands. Even though it was horrible to go through, it was so painful. He held on to me. Not only did He hold on to me, but He kept me from all these disabilities that I would have had and should have had right then. Not only He kept me from having to be intubated, life support. Biggest thing is He kept me out of hell. How can I not be serious for my Father that loves me that much, that He would keep me alive? That He would love me enough that He'd say, no, my daughter, you're going to stay here with us when you should have gone. He loved me that much. Listen, I don't know who I'm speaking to or who's getting to see this, and this is not my typical vlogs, but I knew this had to be done before I continued on with some of my other stuff. But think back. What has God kept you out of? What wreck has He kept you from dying in? What fall have you fallen and fell that He kept you? Think back on your life. I want each and every one of you guys to think real hard on whether or not you're doing things the right way. I want you to, if this reaches 1 or 2, or if it hits whatever heart, Lord, let it be. Because that 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever is so much better than losing more. Give your life to Him. It doesn't matter if you come to Him on drugs. It doesn't matter if you come to Him just straight depressed and ready to give up. Come to Him and give it to Him. Give it all to Him. That's what He wants. He wants to take it all. See, we're carrying burdens and we're carrying things that God doesn't expect us to carry. He wants to take care of it, but we won't let Him. Y'all, I hope that this reaches you, but not to tell you just how faithful and how good He has been to me. Whenever I come out of the hospital from having an aneurysm, a few weeks later I still wasn't feeling that great, and I went back to the ER, and the doctor comes in. My husband had stepped out, and he says, "Where did your husband go?" And I said, "Outside." And I was like, "Is everything okay?" And he wouldn't say anything. He said, "Just let me know when he gets back in." Right then and there, you know something's wrong. I started praying. He comes in and tells me that they're getting ready to transport me back to the trauma center, that I have another aneurysm, a second one. Y'all, the devil tried to get me. He tried to get me. I started crying, and I just was like, why? To the point I was in hysterics, and I called my mom, and my mom said, "Baby, just hold on. He's took you through this. We don't know why, but you keep your faith." And when I tell you, I redirected my thoughts, and the Stellar Awards was coming on this year. This is the night I was in there. The Stellar Awards, which is the Christian music, the Gospel Music Awards, was coming on. And when it come on, I just started praising and worshiping and singing. And my husband was like, "Wow, you know, she's just been told she's got another one and getting ready to be transported back to the hospital." And I just knew if I had another one, I was getting ready to have another brain surgery. You know, from the first brain surgery, they had to put a stent in my head. But I just started praising him. I was like, "Lord, if you took me through that, then I know you got it." Long story short, my doctor from the first aneurysm calls them back and says, "You know what? The medicine she's on is what I would treat it with, and just let her go home." See how good God is? Do you see how good He is? From then, even before then, from then on, I haven't went back. My Christian life is on a whole nother level, and whatever the Lord has for me, I'm going to do. Whether it's ministering, whether or not it's doing whatever it may be, and I'm that's what I'm going to do. But I'm also, through my channel, going to start letting you guys know certain things and talking to you about how you can change and what you can do. And if y'all have any questions for me, like some of them ask, more or less was like, some of them is like, how can you keep your faith, and you went through this and that. I keep my faith because I know what I was taken through. I know who my Father is. I know who done that for me. He could have let me die and went on to eternity, and my life wasn't ready, but He didn't. So I want you guys, like I said, you can ask me any questions you want to. Put it in the comments below. But ask yourself, what if honestly, don't just think about it. I want you to really put yourself in that position. If you were dying, and you knew that you were dying, are you ready? Because I wasn't. I should have been, and a lot of my family don't like to hear it, but I should have been in hell right now. But since God scooped me up and He left that 99 for that one, I may mess up and I may fall, but I've asked Him for forgiveness, and He loves that more than me just ignoring. Because there's a lot of us, y'all, if y'all see flies, we live in the country. I'm steady kidding, but there's a lot of us that are going through a lot of things, a lot of different diseases, and it is really taking our life downhill, and we still are not giving our life to the Lord. But when something happens, we're, "Oh Lord, please, Father, please, oh God, help me." We need to redirect our thoughts and our minds on not just calling on Him when it's happening to us, when we have that fear of whatever's happening to us, or if we've been in that wreck and we're laying there on the ground and we think we're dying right then, we're calling on Him. We need to be calling on Him and serving Him way before that. Way before that. But a lot of us, and that was including me, was calling on Him when things were happening to us. We can't do that anymore, y'all. You cannot do that. Because just like me, and I knew that I was... When that aneurysm hit me in my bathroom, whenever I felt that zinging feeling, like I said, when you hit your elbow and you feel that zinging, tingling, when that harsh tingling went up my spine and hit here, that should have been a wrap for me. I should have slumped over and died. I don't know if I would have still been sitting, and I'm not trying to be vulgar, but on the toilet, I don't know if I'd have just slumped over, if I'd have slumped over enough and fell over into the floor, but I want you guys to reevaluate your life, and don't wait till you're put in a bad position to call on Him. Call on Him way before then. Take time. Like I do now. I go in a quiet place and I have my time with Him and speaking to Him, telling Him, you know, what I'm thankful for, and Lord, you know, I need You. And you guys, I hope that this has helped someone, if not many. I hope this has helped you to realize how good God can, and He's so supernatural in doing things that it will blow your mind, just like it blew mine. Because like I said, I should have been dead for one, but not only that, but He took me through 8 days of my brain bleeding. And that severe pain, honestly, that pain that would come from it, I should have had a heart attack from as bad as it was. Because you think about something being so bad that you went by ambulance 8 days every night, there's something wrong. But He took me through that. Not only did He take me through that, but He kept me off life support, and He took me through 2 brain surgeries within two days. And if it would have been like in the old days, I would have had my head cut open. That would have been another thing. They found new age stuff of how to go into your brain now with other instruments and things like that through different areas of your body where they don't have to cut your head open. But think about that. I should have had my head cut open. If it would have been a few years ago before they started doing this new technology, I would have had my head cut open. But I hope this has reached someone. And we'll be getting back to my normal vlogs. But a lot of people have asked where I've been and what's been going on. You guys, I should have lost my life this year. But God seemed fit for me to stay here. So I'm on a new level of my Christian walk, my Christian life. It's like I hunger. I hunger for the Word. I hunger to be at church. I told someone the other day that if I could go take my mattress and sleep at church, I would. That's just how much I love it. But that's how much He's changed my life. So that's how I tell you that 2022 has been my worst and my best year. Yep. So, you guys, each and every one of y'all, I'm going to hop off of here. But I hope this has let you guys know how much and what God can do in your life. Okay?